Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. It's great to have you here with me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. We have everything from severe weather outbreaks along with winter clashing against spring here. We'll see which season is set to win out. We're going to have some cold and lake effect snow across parts of the Northeast and some wraparound snows as well. But the big story is going to be this low pressure system that barrels out of the Gulf of Mexico right around the 22nd and 23rd here. This actually could become a formidable system, and of course some of our models taking the system up the coast as a massive coastal system, and right around March 22nd into the 23rd, the European model showing a very ominous sign of something that looks more indicative of a subtropical system. Could this actually become a subtropical system off the southeast coast and stall for quite some time, becoming a monster storm? And we'll just see how much of the polar vortex is set to break off for this coming week as we get a surge of polar and Arctic air blasting down from the north across the eastern part of North America. We'll see just what areas could see well below average temperatures and potential for snowfall. Let's get into it. And there's the GFS snowfall amounts for the following weekend, right around the 23rd through 25th. Could we actually be looking at a massive interior snowstorm? Severe weather outlook for Saturday into Saturday evening. That is going to exist here across South Texas, particularly around San Antonio, Austin on southward here. This is where we're going to see damaging wind, large hail, and tornado threat, especially from 3 p.m. all the way up to midnight Saturday. And for Sunday, the Gulf Coast region from just east of San Antonio, Houston, New Orleans, all the way over to Panama City, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville. This is where we're going to see the area of stormy weather, damaging wind, large hail, and isolated tornadoes. A good bet. And as we cruise on into Monday, the peninsula of Florida, particularly around Jacksonville and just north of Tampa, that is where the strong thunderstorms will reside. All right, so taking a look at the GFS model, and we'll transition over towards our other models here. So you can see here, there's going to be that severe weather outbreak. I'm going to go over momentarily with the HRRR future radar, which is really handling this really well. There's our sharp cold front here as we head overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning here across the Northeast. That is going to be ushering in that much colder air across the area. You can see there it is. By 8 a.m., this system is moving well east, and we have that lake enhancement kicking in across the eastern Great Lakes. You can see that. And there it is across the Gulf Coast region. We're going to be watching that severe weather outbreak continuing. Look at that. That's 11 a.m. on Sunday. And you can see here across the Northeast, you can see that rain changing to snow, especially the lake enhancement behind this area of low pressure. Strong thunderstorms continuing across the Gulf Coast region, racing eastward as we head throughout Sunday evening. And there is that northwest flow. You can almost see there's a trough of low pressure to enhancing this, the bend in those isobars. You're getting that lake enhancement on the backside of this big old low across the southeastern Canadian Maritimes. And that continues to lift north. Despite it, by March 19th, we're continuing to see lake enhancement, lake snows here, continuing in those favored snow belt areas. And as we head throughout the week, you can see another area of low pressure gets cranking around the 21st, and those isobars getting very close together. So we'll see some lake enhancement behind that as well. Our next storm producing severe weather across eastern Texas, Louisiana, and another storm here across the northern plains, bringing that burst of heavier snow. Now, this system's going to ride out of the Gulf. I'm going to show you this on the Euro momentarily. This is that area of low pressure that I'm a little concerned about because it almost looks like it takes on almost subtropical characteristics. It's even showing up better on the European model. This is right around the 23rd. The one thing to note is the GFS is taking this as a coastal storm. Now, on the northern side, you can see where that high pressure is setting up some colder air. But coastal areas, if this were to play out, this would be rain for coastal areas. It's just too warm. Now, the GFS takes this progressively up the coast. You can see heavy snow in the areas that's seen it over the last couple weeks, rainfall along the coastlines, and then bombing this low into the Gulf of Maine by March 24th. This would produce extremely heavy snow in parts of Quebec and northern New Brunswick, and eventually Newfoundland here. This would drag a squall line all the way down into the tropics here. So either way, this is looking like a very powerful area of low pressure. Both models, though, differ on the exact track and how this storm gets blocked. The European model, I'll show you momentarily, blocks this system across the southeast, making it almost impossible to ride up the coast, and continues to bomb it and produce beach erosion and some coastal, flooding concerns. This on the GFS is much more progressive. The next storm behind it, we see a series of Colorado lows bringing a squall line and another severe weather outbreak to the south on the 26th into the 27th. There across the east, another storm stretching here on the 28th, so more squall lines. So we're going to see some severe weather outbreaks here, even deep into the east and the northeast here, Ohio Valley. So definitely got to keep an eye on this as we head throughout the rest of the month, changing to snow on the backside of this low pressure system. All right, so taking a look at our European model here, you can see showers and thunderstorm activity is going to be the rule here across Texas. It's about the only area through mid to late weekend that looks to be unsettled, with the exception for the Four Corners region. Watch this area of energy, but the active weather here is going to be across Texas, or if you're here in southeast Canada, you can see this upper level low just continuing to spin some showers and some scattered snow showers. That's going to be that push of cold air. And as we continue to go in time, you can see that colder air pushes to the east here. You can see where the isobars are bending. That's where the front's going to be moving through as we head throughout 17th here. And look at this, shower and thunderstorm activity. Stronger thunderstorms are going to turn towards the Gulf Coast as we continue to go out in time here. So watch this as we continue. This low pressure system winding up here across New Brunswick. And you can see here across the southeast, scattered strong thunderstorms continuing as we head towards the 18th around 2 a.m. here. And you can see that low pressure, it starts blowing up just off the coast. However, there is not going to be any coastal system here. And as we continue to head throughout the week, you can see where the cold air and the troughiness is residing here. You see these scattered snow showers heading off the lake. So we'll see those proverbial lake effect snow streamers continuing off Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Superior, maybe even a Georgian Bay connection as we head towards the 20th, 19th into the 20th here across Syracuse. Watch out for that. We could see some possible significant lake effect snow accumulations. That is going to start to pivot and shut off as we head throughout the 23rd into the 24th. You can see this big 1040 millibar high. Now here is that feature I've been watching for a while. It kind of heads out of the Gulf of Mexico. Let's just back this up just a little bit. It comes off as the complex of strong thunderstorms around New Orleans, right around the 22nd into the 23rd. And then we start to get some shower and thunderstorm activity forming across the eastern Caribbean. And you can see we form a big low pressure system here off the coast. So there's going to be a big pressure gradient between this low and this high. This could push some extreme winds and wave action here along the Carolina shores here. So definitely got to keep an eye on this. It's a little bit far out, so we have some time to watch it. However, this could be a massive low pressure system. Could it take on some subtropical characteristics? We'll have to keep an eye on it here. We're heading into a very stormy season, the battle between winter and spring here, but this looks like a massive low. And then look at this here towards the 25th. We start to get into a severe weather outbreak here across the plains. All right, so for our HRRR future radar, I want to head your attention here later Saturday evening across Texas. This is where, let's just stop it right here around 6 p.m. and we'll continue to progress in time. Look at this. There's going to be a lot of strong thunderstorms firing across this area. So Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, eventually Houston as we head overnight. We could be looking at quite a bit in the way of strong to severe thunderstorm action. Look at this is 1 a.m. on early Sunday morning. Look at what the future radar is looking like here across south central Texas. It's looking very nasty. And I would be very concerned about some nocturnal tornadoes and severe weather outbreak here. This is towards 4 a.m. on Sunday morning. Look at the San Antonio, you getting in on the act, and that squall line and complex starting to race east towards Houston between 7 and 9 a.m. And look at this. Yeah, there's going to actually be more storms firing throughout the day on Sunday, but look at the squall line forming across the north central Gulf heading towards New Orleans. You're going to have a very nasty stormy time of it just after noon here in New Orleans. Back towards Houston, San Antonio, more storms firing. Let's just back this up just a little. You can see how this storm complex races across the Florida panhandle as well. And then we get more storms, 5 a.m. Monday morning, continuing to race east towards Jacksonville and Gainesville. And here we go for the Northeast. We're going to head throughout the rest of your Saturday evening and Saturday night. There's that sharp cold front. You can see that burst of heavier snow there across Ontario and Quebec. Look at the leading edge, though. This is going to be rain, but it looks a little convective in nature here. This is 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, so we clear Cleveland just after midnight, as well as Buffalo and Erie. And look how fast this races to the east, ushering in that lake enhancement precipitation by 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Look at these snow bands setting up here across the lakes. And Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, this is going to come later Monday, especially into Tuesday. Look at these lake bands setting up across the area as we head through early Monday morning around 3 a.m. This is the orientation of the bands across parts of the Great Lakes. There's our last frame. This is 8 a.m. on Monday morning. So you can see the orientation of these bands, depending on your location, could be lining up northwest to southeast here. So if we look at precipitation here, we are looking at rainfall amounts across Texas, in particular in the Gulf Coast, being in excess of 2 or 3 inches. Here across the eastern Great Lakes and Northeast, this will be wraparound moisture, some of this in the form of snow showers as we continue to get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But it's here across the Deep South. That is where, southern Texas, eastern Texas, all the way to Florida here and the Gulf Coast states, we're going to see that likelihood of 1 to maybe as much as 3 inches of rainfall. And here we go for snowfall here on the European model. You can see eastern Canada and the Four Corners region being the 2 main areas. And then there we go as we head towards, say, Tuesday. I think Tuesday into Tuesday night, early Wednesday as well. Maybe continuing on into Thursday across eastern Lake Ontario region. That's where we're going to see the area of snowfall here. So some of these snowbelt areas east of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and Lake Superior regions, they could be on the order of 6 to 12 plus inches. And zooming in here, you can see we'll get a good idea here as we go through Monday. There it is into Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. You can see particularly around Erie and south of Buffalo here and north of Syracuse, those are the areas until we get to about later in the week. Look at even Syracuse gets in on the act. So as we head throughout the entire next week, it's these areas, these big snowbelt areas off of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, where we could see 6 to as much as 10 inches of snow, maybe locally higher to 12 inches here. So Cleveland, about an inch or 2, it looks like, out of this. And then look at stretching on towards Erie, much more significant, Buffalo, Syracuse, Oswego County, these areas. And even here, we could start to see a Georgian Bay connection later in the week. So hence Syracuse getting in on the act could be turning rather wintry. Now, if we take a look at the GFS snowfall amounts here, it's very similar. Tuesday, we see that off Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and we see head throughout the week here. You can see it's pretty much lining up mostly with the European model, those snowbelt areas really kicking in with the snow off Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And here's that view again. GFS, look at, there it is for the following weekend. Let's get that out of the way. And look at this. If this were to verify, this would be a very powerful interior snowstorm for much of interior Northeast. All right, so our upper air pattern here, you can see that trough developing here across the Northeast and the eastern part of North America for that matter. Pivoting towards Tuesday, the worst, probably cold and lake effect, lake enhanced snow here. You can see it is a neutral trough, so there could be potentially a storm forming on the east end, but it's not likely to go major coastal on us. You can see that trough continues throughout much of the week before dissipating for next weekend as we get towards March 24th. There is that potential cutoff low scenario. We'll have to keep an eye on this off the southeast coast. This could become something rather interesting. And then you start to see the flip-flop in the pattern, trough developing out in western North America. And here we go with our medium range climate forecast model, CFS. You can see as we head throughout the latter part of the month, ridging continuing into the eastern part of North America. We do start to see a trough kicking eastward here towards the first week of March, so it could be rather stormy here across much of the east and the west coast. But look at that massive ridge developing in the central states. That's going to continue to push a trough further east as we head towards April 8th and 9th here. Seems like we're going to see a very fast-moving stormy pattern as we head through the first half of April until we start to get a massive ridging scenario with warmer temperatures and high pressure towards the middle of the month. So if we take a look at our temperature outlook here, you can see all the cold air bottled up here in northern Canada. Are we going to see that big push of cold air? It looks like we are this coming week. You can see right around the 18th, a nose of the polar vortex essentially breaking off here and heading southward here across much of the eastern half of North America. You can see the 18th into the 19th. But look at this. This is what I'm worried about, because look at the temperature contrast here from the central part of North America and the massive cold air blast just into central Canada here. That's going to continue to increase that gradient here as we go through the 20th. You can see warm air building here across central North America and cold air blasting here towards the southeast. That is going to set up the battleground in between for strong thunderstorms. Look at this as we head towards the 22nd. You're going to continue to get this lake effect and lake enhanced snow here across much of the northeast here, eastern Great Lakes. But you can see, look at this warmth. It's going to be battling against this cold to the north. It's like the two seasons here are literally battling it out, and right in between is we're going to see that massive storminess. Look at this. We head towards the 24th, staying below average, but look at that. We start to get towards the 25th, massive warm air pushing to the north here. So we're going to start to even see eastern Canada warm up, and that in turn is going to push the colder air further west here towards the Rockies. And John sending in some beautiful photos here celebrating his birthday at Tom Chuttlebush Station, March 13th through the 15th. Take a look at some of these photos here. Looking really nice across the area. Even it looks like that there looks like a potential cherry blossom tree. Look at that blooming in full bloom here, looking really nice across the area. And you can see, look at those beautiful cloud patterns off in the background as well. You get the idea that this was a beautiful couple days here across the area. And you can see, look at that beautiful blue sky, just looking stellar, looking really nice across the region. I hope you had a nice birthday there at Tom Chuttlebush Park there, John. And looks like you had an excellent time. Nice captures. Our Canadian winter storm outlook. Let's take a look here. Yes, we have low pressure that's going to energize a bit here as we head through your March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Look at this. We see a big area of snow showers here across southern Quebec, Ontario, and heavier snow here in northern New Brunswick. That low pressure is going to keep a trough here associated across southeast Canada. Another trough up here in Quebec. We have another Alberta Clipper style system here in central Canada. And as we go out in time, here's March 19th and the 20th. You can see what's going on here. An active pattern setting up here across southwestern Canada, as well as southeastern Canada as well. Those are going to be the two areas that get the most snow over the next several days to couple weeks. And as you can see, we're going to continue to see these low pressure systems wind up across the Canadian Maritimes here just around north of Nova Scotia and east of New Brunswick towards Newfoundland there. Big slows bombing out here, just one right after another. This is towards March 24th. You can see one right in the Gulf of Maine heading towards New Brunswick here. Heavy snow just to your north. The rest of Canada clearing out for the last full week of March, it seems, until we get to about the 27th here. Look at this. Yeah, we get a system coming into the west coast of Canada here, and then more snow here across Quebec and Ontario, and then heading towards New Brunswick. Look at here in the central part of Canada, though, looking very quiet as high pressure builds in. Another low moving up from the United States here on the 29th into eastern Canada. We're just going to continue that round after round of precipitation here, and the good news is a lot of these areas that were burned last summer, you're getting a lot of precipitation. Looking good. And our Canadian snowfall outlook here. Let's take a look and see what we got going on. There it is. Eastern Canada, Southeast Canada, Yeah, it's really eastern and southeast Canada where we're going to see the biggest storminess and cold air, at least through the next week or two. You can see on the order of 20 to as much as 40 centimeters here, especially in northern New Brunswick, maybe clipping parts of Newfoundland here, southeast Canada, really getting on the act of some much more active snowfall. Here across Western Canada, it's kind of toning down a little bit out on the west coast, but you can see southwestern Canada really picking up some snowfall as well. So taking a look at the tropics here, the Caribbean, nice and quiet as we continue to cruise along through the new week here. You can see there is not much to talk about. We actually have to go all the way to about the 18th and 19th here. We get a frontal boundary moving through here. You can see the Bahamas getting some showers and thunder showers all the way to the Yucatan Peninsula, the Cayman Islands. And as we continue to cruise out in time, thankfully that front moves to the northeast pretty quickly, so we have very little fanfare. There will be some shower and thunder shower activity from Panama all the way up to Nicaragua here as we get towards the 20th. But you can see from the Lesser Antilles, mostly until you get to the Turks and Caicos, that's where you'll get some showers just to your north and east there, and that'll continue southeastward. Look at this feature here in the Gulf as we head towards the 22nd. What is this? Could we actually see some sort of early subtropical entity? We'll have to keep an eye on it because this hurricane season promises to be pretty interesting as we head in time here. Look at this. This kind of looks a little more synoptic by the time we get towards the 23rd, but I don't know. This is looking really rather interesting here. Two areas that have kind of broken off here. A big low pressure forming off the southeast coast. So this is something we'll have to keep an eye on. Could it have some subtropical characteristics? We'll have to watch here. This is a really interesting low pressure system, but look at the squall line that forms just east of it here, just to the north of Puerto Rico and Haiti. And here we go with the European model. You can see as we head throughout the middle part of this upcoming week, you can see we're going to start to see some showers here across Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and the Bahamas as well. Probably anywhere from 13 to 26 millimeters on the order of half to 3/4 of an inch. If we go just a little bit further here in time, there I wanted to show you right around the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, there's that massive area of low pressure. It's going to drop a lot of rainfall here in the northern Caribbean, the Bahamas, maybe on the order of 60 to 100 millimeters, getting up towards 3 to 4 inches of rain. And the eastern Caribbean, eastern Bahamas here. You know, through Tuesday, we're going to see that area of showers here across the Puerto Rico, Haiti, northern area Virgin Islands here. This could be upwards of, say, 8 to 16 millimeters, nothing more than a half an inch. But look at that. As we head towards the 24th and 25th, very concerned about this big area of low pressure. It's going to bring some hefty rainfall totals as far east as Puerto Rico here. Could be on the order of 40 to maybe 70 millimeters, about a 2 to 3 inch range. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. All right, so our temperature outlook here. It's going to be a clash of the seasons here. Look at this massive warm air. Much of South and Central and even Northern Florida getting into the mid-80s, upper 80s, maybe near 90 degrees. But look at up here across the Northern Plains. This is where the cold air is. It will be making a pivot as we get towards the next several days. So take a look at this. We're going to see a lot of cooler air. You can't call it really cold, but there it is. It's kind of scouring out across the east on Monday into Tuesday. Look at this temperature contrast. 30s up here, and then look at the 70s just bubbling up across the Central Plains. You know there's going to be severe weather outbreaks. You see these 20s and 30s to the north, and then you see these 60s and 70s and even some 80s to the south here. And then as we get towards Thursday, look what's going on here. Surge of colder air, but the warm air seems to be winning out here across the east as we get into the 40s and the 50s. And then we get towards Friday, look what's going on. Springtime appears to be winning here across much of the country. Extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton, Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania, Sunday through Thursday here. It is going to be a lot more winterier this week. You can see Sunday scattered showers. That translates to scattered snow showers. They're lake effect snow showers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Tuesday being the best chance. A less than 1 inch of snow each day. 37 only for a high on Tuesday, rebounding to the mid-40s by Thursday. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also at Weather Northeastern, also at Hurricane Northeastern, and also at Susquehanna Weather. Also Twitter at Weather Eastern, and you can visit me at MeteoMark.com. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out my winter weather outlook for 2023-24, and link in the description down below, as well as my affiliate, Trilogy Maps.